And for the first time ever, a French company uses Chinese currency to buy liquefied natural gas, or LNG. The trade was settled in the Chinese yuan. The two companies involved here are Chinese National Oil Company and France's Total Energies. The Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange facilitated the trade. About 65,000 tons of LNG exchanged hands. China is trying to establish its currency internationally, and at the same time, it wants to undermine the dominance of the US dollar. Russia and Saudi Arabia also have used the yuan previously in their trade settlements. So is the Chinese yuan on its way to replace the US dollar? We get an analyst to weigh in. Joining me is Joseph Trevasani, senior analyst at FX Street. Now, China just did its first trade of liquefied natural gas. It's settled in the Chinese yuan. Now, is this a big deal?
Well, thank you for having me. Well, it is a big deal in the sense that nothing's ever like this has ever really been done before. On the other hand, as far as replacing the U.S. either in trade deals or as a reserve currency, I think it's really no threat at all. But, there are two considerations here. There's one for trade and how you price various commodities, and those are all priced in dollars. It isn't there's no requirement that you settle a trade in dollars, but in fact, most trades are settled in dollars and they're priced in dollars. That's one aspect of the dollar's dominance. The second, I think, is much more pervasive and far less likely to ever be challenged, and that's the dollar as a store of value. It's the treasury market that dominates the world investment, and that's not about to change because it is the most widespread currency in the world and it has the greatest amount of liquidity. If a country wants to hold value, the place to go is the U.S. Treasury market, U.S. markets in general. They're by far the largest capital markets in the world. Even its most closest competitor, the euro, as far as currency goes, has not been able to make much of an inroad against the dollar as a store of value. So that's the biggest reason people simply trust the dollar, because the U.S. is a relatively, compared to the rest of the world, a very open market, whereas other currencies are either too small, such as the national markets in the Eurozone, or are not open at all, such as Russia and China.